All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tea Time. Here with you. All of us are here with you this afternoon, and welcome. Please remember to invite and share and like this video. And we are also streaming live on YouTube. So join us over there as well. So we are on live Tea Time Tuesday, a time to pause, reset, and build resilience. Welcome again, everyone, to our Tea Time community. We are all here and we're excited to be with you this afternoon. All right, so go ahead and share and like. Looking forward to this special tea time that we're having today. This is going to be absolutely phenomenal. All right, good afternoon to you, Karen. Thank you. And I hope you guys have gotten your good afternoon, Monique. Hope you guys have gotten your coffee, you have your tea. Make sure that you have your tea time journal so that you can take notes and write down some things that we always share during our specialty times. So we're going to go ahead and move right forward with today's tea time, which is our book of the week. All right, book of the week. And our book of the week is The Prayer That Changes Everything, The Hidden Power of Praising God, Stormy or Martin. All right, and then just to give you a little synopsis about the book. And so this book is the intimate conversations with God to often focus on immediate needs, concern for others, and direction regarding His will. But praise requires believers to look beyond themselves and their circumstances and place their attention solely on God. Stormy in this book shares personal stories, biblical truths, and practical guiding principles to reveal the wonders that take place when Christians often praise in the middle of difficulties, sorrow, fear, and yes, abundance and joy. Again, the book of the week here at the Renewal Center is the prayer that changes everything, the hidden power of praising God. All right. So this is a wonderful book, and we invite you to go ahead and take a read to this book. It sounds very encouraging. So as we know, we always have our tea of the week. And speaking of tea of the week, we have the Renewal Center's tea of the week is jasmine tea. All right. So tell me, everybody out there, our viewers, what tea are you having today? Our tea of the week is jasmine tea. I am actually having water. All right. I'm having water. And so just go ahead and share with us in your comments if you're having tea, if you're having water, if you're having coffee, whatever it is. You know what we do here at the Renewal Center Tea Time. We share in collaboration of the things that we are having, as far as our tea. Greetings. Good afternoon to you, Nichelle. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for being a part of Tea Time. Thank you all. For those who are new to Tea Time, we want to do a special welcome to you. We thank you for joining us. If you're watching now or you'll be viewing later, we thank you for being a part of Tea Time. Welcome to our Tea Time Tuesdays, where this is a time to where we pause, reset, and build resilience. So, all right. You said, Michelle, you're having pineapple juice. All right. Okay. And water. Water's always good. Absolutely. Toffee nut coffee. All right. Thank you, Monique. All right. Thanks for sharing your teas this afternoon. And as we go ahead and move on, we're just going to go into a time of just locating ourselves, okay? And this is something that we do and we share every week with our Team community where we come together, we just center ourselves and we locate ourselves. So let's go ahead and prepare. Let's kind of just loosen up our shoulders and kind of sit up straight and just be able to just take in those deep breaths. So we're just going to take a moment, just loosen your hands and just begin to just get in touch with yourself, even just kind of stretch a little bit. As we see Patrick is he's moving his neck around. This is a part of preparing. So let's go ahead and move into this time of pause. Just deep breaths in and then out, just for a moment. Just a few more seconds. Isn't that wonderful? This is
Yes.
what tea time is all about, right, Carmela? Right, Patrick?
Yes.
It's about just
Mhm.
taking that moment to just pause. We're not in a rush, just taking that time to pause. We've had some, busy morning, maybe in meetings, and just center ourselves and locate ourselves by just taking that time to pause. And we locate ourselves by taking those moments to take those deep breaths in and deep breaths out, which allows us to clear our mind and to clear our thoughts and be able to get in touch with ourselves. So, all right, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and move forward with the rest of our tea time with our executive director, Patrick Brown, and Carmela E. Head, our director of Renewal Community Programs.
This is good. Thank you both. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Mel, I want you to, before we go into the renewal practice for today, there are 2 months, two particular awareness areas that we want to hone in on. And the first one, maybe you could just talk a little bit about our April being Stress Awareness Month and just the importance of that.
Yes, April is Stress Awareness Month. And of course, everyone encounters stress, different kinds of stress, things that kind of pull us away from our peace during the day. So, we definitely want to take this time during the month of April to really bring awareness to how to kind of decompress from stress and how stress affects us, and different tips and strategies on how to bring us more focus, just like we just did with the locating yourself. So, stress is among us. Stress is everywhere. It's just manifests in so many different ways. So, we're going to take our time this month to do different things here at the Renewal Center Tea Time Tuesday that focuses in on or pulls a little bit of emphasis on Stress Awareness Month. We can't hear you.
So important that we focus on awareness in the area of stress. And then also, April is also National African American Women's Fitness Month. Now, Mel, I know you're a walker. You walk, and hope I know that you do some walking and different things. So tell us a little bit about just and the importance of women's fitness. African American Women's Fitness Month, because some people may not be aware that this is an actual awareness month. So I wanted to bring that to our attention as well.
Now, this is an amazing time this month, this particular awareness. It just focuses in primarily on making sure that we're staying fit, whether that's whatever works for us, walking, taking care of our health as far as our heart, our brain, even just, nutrition, those things. And like we're talking about now, even self-care. So focusing in on that for the month of April, National African American History, Women's Fitness Month. Had to bring it back in. So it's an encouragement to all of us to stay fit, whatever way that means, staying fit.
Absolutely. So I wanted us to point out those two things. You've got the stress awareness and then also National African American Women's Fitness Month. So
Mhm.
just combine those two together. We just went through Women's History Month and then now African American Women's
Yeah.
Fitness. And so I want to encourage you. We've got a few more days left in the month of April. If you don't have a fitness plan, this is the time to develop a fitness plan. Or if you don't have an accountability partner, to help you through your fitness concerns, how you're eating, your intake of sugars and salts and flours and other things that we can really focus on, how much we stretch each day, our sleeping habits as part of our fitness. All those things are important. So African American women, let's concentrate this month on fitness. Do the best you can to focus on what you need to do to increase your fitness, right? And your wellness. So that's important that we do that. So do y'all want to stay on today or come off, or how y'all want to stay on tea time with me today for the renewal practices?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to jump in. There's a few things I want us to, first of all, we just did the locate yourself exercise. And so today's focus is going to be ways to recognize yourself slipping out of balance, slipping out of balance. And so I want to talk about this as it relates to stress. And then also as it relates to fitness, because many times, I don't know about you, but how many of you out there, perhaps you've been out of balance, perhaps during when there are other demands, when something hits your life, some
Yes.
news that comes in and it's like, oh, hold on a second. How do I respond to that? Sometimes I've been out of balance with something that I may have heard or something I may have read or something that came against me or something that I struggled with, or maybe even when others, when their urgency becomes a demand in your life.
Yes.
So that causes us to be out of balance. I'd like to ask a question to all of our tea timers as well as our team here. What perhaps throws you out of balance? What slips you out of balance? Really think through that. If you're out there, let us know what perhaps causes you to be out of balance or slip out of balance. Because I think it's important that we locate ourselves when we're in balance. For me, it is when I'm not managing my sleeping patterns. That's when I'm out of balance. If I'm not getting the rest that I need because there are different demands, then I start noticing perhaps my response may be different, my reactions may be different because of a rest issue. So I'd like to hear from everyone in terms of how do you handle that? Nichelle says sleep deprivation. Okay, I'm with you on that. That's exactly what I deal with. Anybody else, Hope or Carmela, maybe if there's a, how do you notice when you're slipping out of balance or what causes you to slip out of balance?
For me, it will probably most the number one thing for me is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's the number one thing for me. And I have found ways to kind of, make sure that I'm getting the rest I need.
Okay, so sleep as well. Carmela, how about you?
I think for me, sometimes things seems to show up in my body. How sometimes
Mm,
we take in stress or we don't really realize it, but you're noticing it in your back, you're noticing it in your shoulders, you're noticing it, and so that's a sure tell for myself, especially the
Mhm.
person that talks about time management and all that. But still,
mhm.
I recognize for myself that when stress hits, an imbalance is showing up in physically for me.
Okay. So it's important that we know what causes us, if anybody deals with slipping out of balance. And that's the focus that we want to concentrate on today is various aspects of ways that we are slipping out of balance and what do we need to do to move us back into balance. So we're going to focus on that. How do we recognize yourself slipping out of balance? And I'm going to take us through a few renewal practices that will help us. Um, Here's some more comments are coming in. Monique says, demands at work sometimes cause me to slip out of balance. I recognize it by the way I respond and react. Thank you for sharing that, Monique. Karen says, lack of sleep, exercise, lack of fruits and vegetables. So we all know areas that we need to work on. I do get my rest, but at one occasion, because I'm working on a doctorate degree, there are demands. I have a very demanding job. I'm leading in initiatives, and then I've got this schedule where I have to write and I have to research, and so I'm learning even more to ensure. Okay, recognize when I'm out of balance, or recognize when something is slipping a little bit. And so I would like to take us all through this. Nichelle, what does she say here? Helping everybody and their mama, and not saying no when I should. Yes, saying yes when we need to say no, right? That causes us to slip into balance. So, in other words, boundaries. Maybe we need to discuss a little bit about boundaries because boundaries is about what you're going to do, not about what others are doing. Boundaries are about what you're going to do, what you will allow, and what you won't allow, right? It's your personal choice. It is your decision to safeguard your emotional wellness. So, boundaries is very important. Absolutely. That's right, Toyinda. Yes, boundaries. So, I'd like us to take a time. We're going to go through 4 renewal practices today. If you're journaling, this might be a time either to write down a few principles or really think about it and imagine ways to concentrate on what you need to do to slip out of balance. All right. So, let's go through the first one. First thing is direct your attention. You need to know what has your attention. If you direct your attention, you'll notice, I'm slipping out of balance. For instance, when we say consciously direct, that means you are aware this is starting to stress me. This is starting to get me out of balance. So it starts out with this noticing. We know we always say awareness is power. Hope says that a whole lot. And so we've been talking about awareness. So when we have awareness, awareness means that I'm noticing my thinking. I'm noticing what's drawing my attention. I went through something recently, and sometimes I replayed it in my mind. I got to, Patrick, stop. Patrick, stop. Step back and notice the thought, directing my attention consciously. And then I say, you know what? I'm going to redirect my attention. I'm going to redirect my attention from what's causing me to be out of balance. I might develop a new skill or a hobby. I might learn something new that I haven't learned before. I might read something that I haven't read before, different information, right? A new skill perhaps, or even going into your hobbies to redirect what is causing you to be out of balance, because recreation is also important to be able to help us deal with our stress factors. And then thirdly, another part of this renewal practice is also learn how to rest your mind and meditate. Learn how to rest your mind and meditate. So I'm developing a new skill, I'm developing a new hobby, and I'm learning now how to rest my mind and learn how to meditate. So these are just a few things that's important in order for us to do it. All right. Nichelle says, my children taught me how to add the do not disturb on my phone. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do not disturb is a wonderful feature. Or just simply turn it off. No, I can't turn it off. Yes, you can turn it off. It's important. Tina says, what causes me to be out of balance? Not communicating what I should, regardless of the outcome. Absolutely. So glad that you shared that. Thank you for that. See, today is empowerment because we're noticing what we do. Now, for those people that are perfect, this may not be a tea time for you, but for those of us that recognize imperfections and we're growing and evolving, this tea time is for us today. And so we're noticing the importance of it. So I just want to share with the team, any thoughts on that as far as the importance of directing your attention or consciously disconnecting and redirecting your attention when it's needed?
For me, what I do, what I attempt to practice is basically just taking time away from um, things that I do normally, like maybe normal things or, adjusting my thoughts, taking that time, taking that break and allowing my mind to calm. And that's when you're talking about just meditating or just sitting. And also for me, journaling as well is a big thing for me to be able to journal and just take a step back when I feel that thing that's maybe having me unwind in a different type of way. Just taking a moment back, even for my routine. Being I work from home, and so sometimes I just need to get up, and just withdraw just for a moment, so then I can come back and re-engage. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much, Camilla. Any thoughts on that?
I agree with Hope. I mean, some of those things that she mentioned too, sometimes I just have to redirect my attention to bring myself to a sense of peace, kind of get up and walk away, come back with fresh eyes or just freshness. So that's what I would say. Just kind of like you were saying, awareness, self-awareness. I'm aware of what's going on in the moment. And sometimes may not actually be aware, but some of the other practices we talked about is stop and being aware, but actually coming to a place of, okay, I might need to get up, move around, and just redirect myself.
Thank you. Good. Tanya says, I'm out of balance when I don't take time for myself. So I think what we're doing now is we're all noticing what causes us to slip out of balance. So if you're currently has a journal or you're at a place where you can pause, and hopefully you're pausing right now because that's what Tea Time is about. We're resetting and then increasing resilience by sharing with each other. I want you to write down currently what your answer was about what's slipping you out of balance. Go ahead and write that down in your journal. Put it someplace. And when you're writing in journals, okay, or if you don't journal or whatever, it does not mean that you have to have this wonderful, eloquent, poetic flow and expression. If you're like, man, I'm tired, and that's it, and if that's your journal entry, that's your journal entry. You might write different things that are like very expressive, and you need that. That's fine as well. So, what's causing you to be out of balance? And I want you to think about that. If you're not out of balance, that's totally fine. But if there's certain things that's causing you to slip out of balance, then I want you to think about that, because we do have different aspects of our lives that will pull us in different areas and different attentions. And so it's important that we do that. All right. We started out with, for instance, it could be fitness. I'm out of balance in my eating habits. I'm out of balance in my sleeping habits. I'm out of balance in not saying no. I'm out of balance when I feel guilty that I have to respond immediately. So a text come through or a call come through, you better stop what you're doing. And no, boundaries will help. So I want us to be able to think about that. And if you have written down, if you know what's causing you to slip out of balance, now I want you to think this question: how can I redirect my attention? And then ask yourself again, what do I need to redirect my attention to? In other words, what has your energy? Because whatever has your attention is going to have your energy as well. Does it mean that there's certain times you're not going to take phone calls? Does it mean there's certain times that it's just for you? See, let's think about this. If I know that I'm slipping out of balance or I'm already out of balance, then I need to ask myself the question, what has my attention and why? And then how can I redirect my attention? I'm walking through something that has my attention. Then what I'm doing is I talk it out. Talking it out helps me redirect it. I say, okay, now, Patrick, take some time, redirect your attention to something that's more productive for your emotions, more productive for your thinking. Doesn't mean I'm denying it. It just means I'm not giving it power over me. So directing our attention disempowers whatever is causing us to slip out of balance. So that's our first focus for today in renewal practice, is consciously disconnect. I want you to just write that, type that in the comments. Disconnect, redirect. These are different things that we're going to focus on. Disconnect, redirect, developing something new, engaging in your hobby, learning how to rest your mind, and learning how to meditate. These are critical pieces in order for us to be able to acknowledge when we're slipping out of balance. So yes, Nichelle says, I intentionally find something to make me laugh, like a comedy TV show. It breaks the monotony of the mundane, which throws me out of balance. Thank you. Marika says here, out of balance when you're not making yourself a priority. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. Yes. These are important things. Thank you. Glad that this is helpful, everyone. Disconnecting. Yes. All right. Disconnecting, re-engaging. I'm a stickler on not taking phone calls after a certain time or before a certain time. Absolutely. Go ahead and type out, everybody, disconnect, reconnect, meditate when we're stepping out of. These are important principles. Why am I asking you to type it out and write it out? That tactile engagement is reinforcing you. There are times I'm going to have to disconnect. Then I'm going to reconnect. I'm going to redirect as well. Redirect my attention. Because whatever was getting on my nerves, because we all have our nerves, and I know some of you, things may not get on your nerves. You're like, a professional talking about things getting on your nerves? Yes. Things just get to you. They just happen to show up. Or you know what? Something catches you by surprise, and then you got sucked into something. You're like, okay, wait a minute. This has nothing to do with me. But then it ends up being, So what we're going to do, redirect. Everybody hashtag that. Redirect. That is our focus for today. Redirecting. All right. Tayana says here, I've been forcing myself not always to respond so quickly, especially if I'm doing something that I scheduled. Very important. We must redirect. Now, the question now becomes, and this is just for you in your journal, what are you going to redirect? If you know what's causing you to slip out of balance, now the question is, what am I going to redirect? Where am I going to redirect it? These are important things because these are whatever has our attention is going to have our energy. Whatever intention, what has our attention also could potentially be a distraction. Whatever has my attention, that's the intake of that energy. I'm intaking that into my life as well. I've noticed that. I read something and that thing stayed in my mind. It was like branded in my mind. I'm like, come on now. Why are you letting this get so much power over you, Patrick? I had to ask myself that question. And when I began to ask myself that question, then I began to recognize what I needed to do to shift my attention and redirect my emphasis. Redirect it on what's going well. Redirect on how I'm doing well. Redirect on things that are positive. Redirect on other aspects to help me navigate and not feeling guilty because I didn't let that negative energy in my mind. Okay, especially for those of you that have people pleaser issues or perfectionist issues. Redirect it. Okay, so again, direct your attention. The question is, what has your attention? What is causing you to constantly think about these things and then shift? All right, here's the next one. Connect with your body. Connect with your body. How many of you go walking without your cell phone? Some of us probably got withdrawals. If you leave it, oh my God, I gotta go back home. See, even technology has your attention. You're out of balance. You're out of balance if you cannot walk outside for 30 minutes without your phone. We used to. What happened when we didn't have this? You know, so why now? It's because our lives have become integrated. So it's important that we also know part of recognizing is connect with your body. How do you connect with your body? You know, you start noticing when, for instance, if your skin starts getting dry, you notice I'm not drinking enough water. I'm not hydrating. I'm drinking too much coffee. I'm drinking too much of this or that. All right. Maybe I have too much intake in this sugar area. Noticing where the stress goes in your body. Some things I always tell people when it comes to those of you that have constant meetings, don't do a full hour meeting. Do 50 minutes and then take a break. All you're going to do in the last 5 minutes is talk about nonsense anyway. And then if you're living in this virtual world, well, let's take it offline. Let's circle back. All these other words that we use, let's take it offline. No, we're not taking it offline. I'm taking 10-minute break. And I don't have a hard stop at 1 o'clock, and it's 12:59, and then I gotta go, and then you just stop and you go right into your next meeting. You didn't reset, you didn't redirect your attention, you just went right into the next meeting. If you're running meetings, set them for 50 to 55 minutes and give yourself a reset break. Oh, I'm sorry, I sound like I'm preaching. Excuse me. Let me calm down here. We're supposed to be relaxing. It's tea time. So. Okay, I just noticed you going in, Patrick. Calm and relax there. It's tea time. So I just wanted to just encourage us, connect with your body. Like right now, you could stretch incrementally. Every minute, stretch every hour or so. Stretching yourself incrementally. So Carmela, your thoughts on this as far as connecting with your body. Why is that important for us to recognize that as we're slipping out of balance?
Well, I like to reiterate, kind of comment back on what you were saying about even the time of transition, to allow yourself transition time, because it goes back to the fact that if we don't slow down, we'll burn out. And then burnout brings more things and other things. And so I like the fact that you mentioned alluded to the fact of even with the meetings, because it's so true. I mean, we're living in a virtual age, and not just even with virtual age, just making sure that we're managing the tasks that we have in a good way, because otherwise we're going to burn out if we don't have to make time for ourselves.
That's good. Muted. Were you saying something, Patrick? Okay.
Sorry about that. I apologize. I was saying, what are your thoughts on that? Go ahead.
Oh, I think it's important. I mean, especially with taking time after meetings, whether they be virtual, whether they're on the phone, or just taking that moment because we do need to reset. Our
Mhm.
bodies need to function where we reset. And if we don't, our bodies will speak to us and tell us that we need to reset.
Mhm.
As Carmela was stating, it's just a burnout and you feel tired. And then you're not able to do what you need to do at the capacity you need to do it because you haven't allowed yourself to take the time to pause to reset. So I have taken your advice of taking those meetings. I only do 45-minute meetings now. I don't go over. If you something else, you can send an email. But now, and I see the difference because it allows me to get up. It allows me to kind of even process what took place in a meeting as well. It allows
Mhm.
me to calm and reset so that I can move forward. And so that's definitely it. And having those boundaries is really important. If you're able to control your meetings and set them up for that time. And I'm just saying that for those who have them, and this is a renewal center practice, it really works and give you that time to breathe. You need to get up and get some water, need to
Mhm.
stretch.
Yes.
Some people need to go to the bathroom. When you have those things going back to back, it's just kind of like you're stopping, you're brushing off, you got to go here, you're coming in, and it just becomes to be too much, especially when you have, more, and it kind of throws the focus off. So yeah, it's very important to listen to your body by taking the time to pause.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Connect with your body. Walking, stretching, leaving your technology home as well. And like Hope was saying, I constantly encourage people, those of you that have back-to-back sessions and things like that, it's important that you also give yourself space to say, you know what, I'm not going to do full hour. I mean, do you really
Mhm,
need that full hour? I mean, really being more efficient in how you're managing that, because that
mhm,
takes your attention.
mhm.
Okay. And it causes you to slip out of balance. And then it causes you to think everybody's urgency is now your importance. And so that's not true. Everybody's urgency and what's urgent for everybody else is not important for you. And it doesn't mean that you're insensitive. I just want to be available to people and I don't want people to think that I don't care. See, that's a narrative. It's a narrative. And so therefore, because I do those narratives, what ends up happening, I'm the one that's on the I end up being burnt out, whether physically or emotionally. Okay. So this is important that you're able to do this. All right. So let's keep rolling here. So I want us to concentrate today. And these are practical practices, renewal practices that we need to constantly grow because you want to be healthy physically, physiologically, emotionally. These are different things that we want to do. So first thing we talked about directing your attention. How are you redirecting your attention? How are you consciously disconnecting and redirecting your attention when you need to? Second principle here, connect with your body. Connect with your body. Walking, stretching, how you use your time. If you're sitting all the time, get up and stretch. You know what? Stretching releases toxins. It does. Hydrating.
Yeah.
All right. Your body is mostly made of water. If you're not hydrating, you're not getting what your body's made of. So these are important things to redirect our attention. So let me go back a few comments that we're getting from the audience regarding redirecting. Charlisa says, I'm redirecting my time, emotions, priorities, and thought processes. Anybody else, what are you redirecting to help you even recognize when you're potentially out of balance? Listening to the signals your body gives off. Thank you for sharing that, Monique. Rika says, know when your body is shutting down from being overworked. Michelle said she was heading to a meeting. All right, enjoy your meeting. All right, Charlisa says here, your body will give you signs to rest. When you're not in tune, then things can escalate to various illnesses. Very, very important. Very important. Greeting, Lakeisha. Thank you for coming on. All right. Thank you for coming on. Hope all is well. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Tea Time Tuesday, where we pause, reset, and we're increasing our resilience. All right. Let's share a few more renewal practices. I got two more for us today. Connect with your mind. Connect with your mind. Now, let's say, well, I'm already connected to my mind. What we mean when we say connect to your mind, what are you actively seeking out when a thought comes? What are you actively seeking out when a thought comes, when an emotion comes? Now, seeking out good news. I hear something, here comes a thought, here comes an emotion. I'm going to actively seek out something different, because you can get drawn into a vortex if you don't. So it's similar to directing your attention, but I'm connecting with my mind, and I'm asking myself the question, why am I thinking this? And when you answer that question and you pause and really answer, you get power over that thought. It's the same thing with an emotion. Why do I feel this way? And I answer that myself. That gives me power even over that emotion. All right? Because thoughts and emotions are things that we have. We have an emotion, we have a thought, and we can have authority over those by pausing and connecting with your mind, seeking out good news, dismissing futile thoughts. So we're going to pause here. And I want you to think about, what are you going to do to connect with your mind? And I want you to really consider, as a renewal practice, what thoughts do I need to dismiss? What thoughts do I need to dismiss? What stories and narratives do I need to get rid of? This is what Tea Time is all about. We're working on increasing our resilience by really thinking through this. Lakeisha says, this is good. I know that my body is calling for a sabbatical. Mental, physical, emotional health is very important. Yes, if your body, Lakeisha, is telling you that, listen to it. You only got one body, folks. Thank you for sharing that transparency. It's so important that we're doing this, because this is what's going to cause us to really, I would say, have longevity. And we started out talking about Stress Awareness Month, and also it's National African American Women's Fitness Month. Part of this is being fit, all right, and thinking through how ways we're going to focus on what we need to do to connect with your mind. So I'd like to ask everyone, think through, what thoughts do you need to dismiss? And I want you to write down what you need to dismiss right now. Write it out and just look at it and say, I'm dismissing you. And when you write it out, I want you to just scribble it out as a practice. And if it's a person's name, then it's a person's name. If it's a situation, it's a situation. I'm not a therapist, but what I'm trying to help you see is that if there's something that's on your mind, I'm dismissing that thought. This offense is trying to get into my mind. This struggle is trying to, this is nagging me. I'm going to write it out and dismiss. Hope, go ahead and share.
You know what? That's good. That's what you're sharing about honing in on our thoughts. And for me, that would be journaling. Because through my journaling, I write about what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and then I keep track of it monthly. Kind of go back and read and say, okay, this is an area where maybe I made up a story or a narrative, and then focus on how I'm not going to engage in that anyway. I come to find out, even when we direct it toward those maybe not so positive thoughts, they kind of take energy from you. They kind of they take out that spark, and then make you feel tired, and you're going through these thoughts of replaying over and over again. And so the big thing, as I say, is always being aware of my thoughts, and being aware of why am I thinking the way that I'm thinking. What is the root cause of it? And that takes a time of sitting and meditating. That takes a time of reflection. And so I made sure to have reflection as a part of my life, to just think every day when things happen, what am I allowing in, and how do I need to filter these things and then release them to get them out.
Thank you for sharing that. Camille, I'm going to come over to you really quickly here. I want to go to some comments here. Tina says, I'm redirecting my emotions and I couldn't get a grip until I fasted, disconnected from the world to center self. Mismanaged emotions almost took me out. Thank you for sharing and transparency, team. We greatly appreciate that. Charlisa says, connecting with mind, finding the good, the joy, and the peace in it. Thank you for sharing that. Reflecting upon my thoughts to see the progress towards healing over time.
Yes.
Monique says here, documenting our thoughts and reassessing is a great idea. Self-awareness practices, this is good. Thank you. Grateful this is helpful. Carmela, any thoughts on this part about dismissing specific thoughts or connecting with our mind?
Yes, I was just sitting here thinking about the word ruminating, and how we just continually roll the same thought over, roll the same thought. If it's a concern, rolling it over, and it compounds. And after a while, you're not focused on anything but just that thought, but having a plan of action on how to step back and let it filter through a grid. Filter through a grid of, am I going to listen to this? Am I going to believe, especially if it's something negative, am I going to focus and believe in this? Instead of doing that, we find ways to redirect ourselves to think into something positive or something to replace it that brings peace. And that's real. That's really real, And so for me, that word rumination and thinking over and over and over, that came to my mind. How can I address that? How do we address that when those things come and take us way off course? And then we realize we've lost 1 hour, 2 hours, few days of productivity because we're thinking on that one thing.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I remember a quote I read many years ago: for every minute that I'm angry, I lose 60 seconds of my joy. And so, I think about that. I remember reading that quote a long time ago, and it just came back to me, over the weekend, how important it is. I'm losing out in certain joy areas because of what I'm allowing to live in my mind rent free. And I'm just paying, just people living in there, thoughts are living in there. We're just living rent free, taking up space. So what this is doing today, folks, is helping us identify when we're slipping out of balance and being able to just constantly use these renewal practices to get those things back in alignment. All right. Just like a car, when it's out of alignment, you got to get things adjusted and get things realigned in order for you to be able to get back into balance. All right. This is so important that we do that. Monique says here, I want to share this. It says positive redirection is a method teachers use to get children to change their course of behavior. Adults can use the same practice to change our mindset and behaviors. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes we stay on it, especially if you live in a world where everything is viral. People sending you all these videos and email chains and all that stuff. Sometimes remove yourself from those groups. Ping, 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 ping. Remove yourself from those groups. All right. It's important. So I just want to go back over one more time a few of these practices today, just to reiterate it, and then we'll wrap up with our last renewal practice. So again, folks, stay with us a few more minutes and we'll be finished here. Number one, direct your attention. What do you need to redirect? What needs to be disconnected? And then redirect your attention when it's needed. Developing something, going into a new skill, going into a new hobby, learning how to rest your mind, learning how to meditate. Very important. Next, connect with your body. Connect with your body. Now, if you know you need to connect with your body is speaking to you, you need to stop today and say, I'm going to get the accountability that I need to connect with my body. Walking, stretching, running, jogging, stretching incrementally, how you manage your schedule as far as the different meetings that you're having. Number three, connect with your mind, seeking out and redirecting our thoughts, dismissing anything that's futile as far as our thoughts are concerned. Last renewal practice today, connect with the right people. And there it is. Notice the quality of your interactions. Notice the quality. I mean, are my interactions really quality? How am I showing up? What am I bringing into the space? Notice the quality of my active listening. Am I the loudest in the room? Do I have a need to be right? All those things are out of balance. How are we present? Presence is also what you're thinking when you're around people. You're smiling, but you got something else going on in your mind. That's presence. So what is the quality of my interactions? If I'm not listening, I'm slipping. If I'm not showing gratitude and generosity, I'm slipping out of balance. When I don't say thank you, when I can't show gratitude, when I'm not being generous, and when I'm not actively listening, I'm slipping out of balance. These are important because these are missing, right? In a day and age when it's about having a video, when having a posting, when it's about being out front, we forget these principles of how am I showing up? What essence and what energy and presence do I bring when I walk into a room, when I'm engaging? What's the quality of my interactions? So this is another important piece of being able to recognize the balance that we have. Quality interactions in our jobs, the team member that we need to collaborate with, somebody that works with you, or for instance, you manage their work or manage a functional area and they report to you. And it's like, how am I managing the quality of that interaction? What do I need to say differently? What do I not need to say? What do I need to let them figure out? And what do I need to give direction in? These are questions that we need to ask ourselves if we're going to have an understanding of slipping out of balance, especially in our jobs, our businesses, and in the work that we do. Patrick, this is bothering me. I'm not seeing change in it. Okay, then maybe that means the quality of how I actively listen or may not actively listen. So there are different things that we can look at to help us recognize when we are slipping into balance or out of balance. Direct your attention, connect with your body, connect with your mind, connect with the right people. In other words, they accept you where you are, but then they invite you to transformation. Okay. Yes, I accept where you are, but they're inviting you to a space of transformation. That's important. Because if I just accept, I'm just keeping it real and just being honest about it. Okay, that's fine. Now, how are we going to be transformed? How are we going to continue to grow? What are we doing in the quality of our interactions? All that is important when we recognize how we're interacting with people. So that's our last renewal practice for today. So those of you that are out there, please share in the comments. What are your takeaways? What's an aha moment for you? What did you grow in today? What are you going to do differently out of these 4 renewal practices to help you recognize when you're slipping out of balance? So Hope, Carmela, I'll give you maybe just a quick minute to share some of your takeaways. I'd love to hear from the tea timers as well. And then we'll go to a few announcements. So.
All right. Well, for me, the last point that you made, you're talking about how we deal or interact, connect with the right people. And that stuck out to me because it makes me aware of always cultivating loving relationships. You have to cultivate an environment to build those types of relationships up. And like you said, being present, being there. So I'm in a place right now where I'm just being aware in my relationships. Am I listening? Am I actively there? Am I paying attention? Am I being a hearing ear? Am I cultivating a place of safety? Am I cultivating a place of trust and love and compassion in the relationships, even with my job and the people that I lead and the things that I do? Am I cultivating an environment where they feel comfortable to come to me, comfortable to talk to me, so that we can see the transformation? Because transformation can take place when people feel comfortable in an environment that is conducive to them being able to be transformed. and that's being present in the moment. So that's my takeaway from that last point that you just made there, that you had there, of just continuing to have an environment, cultivating and loving relationships in every aspect of my life. And that's very important, that people know that I'm present, that I'm there, that I'm not looking at my phone or my mind is wandering here or there, that they have my undivided attention. And that's important as well. So that's my takeaway that stood out for me.
Thank you. Thank you. Carmela, your takeaways today.
Yes, my takeaway is really to focus on the second part of what we talked about, and that's really being more mindful of what am I feeling, connecting with with our bodies. And I know we say that quite a bit, that we are connecting with our bodies or whatever, but really being aware that if you're going a little bit too far, to reel yourself back in, and what are some things that you can do to really bring peace into your environment so that you can be still, you can be restful, your body can be, my body can be in a state of rest, in a state of peace, incorporating more things to recognize when I really need to love, how you exhibit love to yourself is by really taking the time to say, I really do need a break, or I need to do this or do that. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. This has been rich. Let's hear from our audience. Anybody else, tea timers that are out there while you're sharing. Just want to remind you that today is our Giving Tuesday. So if tea time has really strengthened you and added value to you as part of our tea time community, this is your new time connecting with us here at the Renewal Center. We are a nonprofit organization here in Concord, North Carolina, 159 Church Street here in Concord. And just want to give you an opportunity to donate to the Renewal Center. We have various ways that you can donate as well. And so here's ways that you can give. First thing we want to encourage you is to download our mobile app. If you download our mobile app, you'll have access to all of our information, access to our digital content, our blog, our Monday motivational word, and other digital content that will really, really strengthen you. And so here's the ways that you can give to the Renewal Center. We have a text option, Renewal Center as well. You can give through our website. You can type in the renewalcenters.com/give. You can give through PayPal and Zelle, which is the Renewal Center 2020 at Gmail. You can also Cash App, Cash Renewal Center, and then Venmo, which is at Renewal Center. And for those of you for a check or a money order you'd like to mail to us, P.O. Box 1381, Concord, North Carolina 28026. So I ask you to just join us in connecting with the Renewal Center, giving to the Renewal Center. If you're ever in the Concord, Charlotte, North Carolina area, please feel free to come by, connect with us. We have a cafe, we have a thought room, we have an art room, we have an action room, a creative working space for you to connect with. And so we would love to see you and connect with you here at the Renewal Center. So thank you so much for considering us with a donation and considering becoming a partner with us. We want to encourage you though, download that mobile app. All right, that mobile app is important because you're able to get all the content that you need to connect with the Renewal Center. So let's see other comments that might be coming in. Monique says here, I'm going to continue to be self-aware and maintain a sense of balance in all areas of my life. I can't save the world. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? What are some of your takeaways today from today's renewal practices? Charlisa says here, becoming more mindful of developing healthy, loving interactions with others that yield good fruit and not bad seeds. Thank you for sharing that with us, Charlisa. Brandy says, thanks for the reminder on the power of belief. I will strike out self-limiting beliefs. I'll take time to be conscious of thoughts. Thank you for sharing that, Brandy. Anybody else out there? Any of your takeaways? We'd love to hear from you, your thoughts. And again, why do we want to hear from you? Because that's how we increase resilience, through community. We're not islands. We do it through strengthening each other. And that's one of the reasons why the Renewal Center is here for those purposes as well. One last thing I want to share with you before the team closes out as well. We have something here called the 4th Carolina Prophetic Gathering that's going to be here in Charlotte, actually, at the Harvest Center. We've been focusing on a decade of declaration and demonstration. And our emphasis on the ministry side of the Renewal Center is April 27th through the 29th. in sync with Christ, Galatians 5:25. So these are our facilitators. We're going to have a time of networking. We're going to have a time of ministry. We're going to have a time of engaging one another and aligning with one another. We have vendors that will be present as well. So we want to encourage you. This is in person. You can go to carolinapropheticgathering.eventbrite.com. And we start on Thursday evening, 7 p.m., all day on Friday evening, and then all day on Saturday. We're excited about being able to connect with you. And again, here are our speakers. We're looking forward to seeing you there at our 4th Carolina Prophetic Gathering. And if you are in the Charlotte area, this coming Friday, I'll be participating in a lunch and learn called Black Men and Depression. We're going to have a conversation here in Charlotte, which is Friday, April 14th, 11:30 to 1 p.m. You can go to namiCharlotte.org/BMMH. And I am one of the participants on the panel, one of the panelists. I'm looking forward to just engaging in conversation about Black men and depression. So if you are in Concord, if you're in the Charlotte area, it is in person. You want to be there. I think they're going to record it and post it a little bit later. But we're having a town hall conversation about Black men and depression. And so I want to invite you, if you're in Charlotte, if you're in the Concord surrounding area, please feel free to attend and come by and connect with us. So to remind you, this is National African American Women's Fitness Month. Take care of yourself this month. Do what you need to do to focus on that. And Stress Awareness Month. We've had a lot of renewal practices today. And so I think we've done a good job in our conversation today of really identifying how we're going to focus on noticing ways that we're slipping out of balance. So Carmela, hope any last words before we wrap up our tea time for today.
Thank you to our Tea Time community today and all of our interaction. And just want to say have a great day and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.
Stress-free.
Very good. Just want to say phenomenal tea time today. Thank everybody for their engagement in our tea time community. Looking forward to our next tea time in our tea time community. Have a wonderful day and have a great week.
All right. I am Renewal.
I am Renewal.